Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to deliver this speech. We are going to solve two problems. First is whether to invest or not. We conducted a qualitative sensitivity and NPV analysis. Then we make a comparison with a potential alternative. The last issue is how much we need to borrow. Let's start with qualitative analysis.
Let's look at the qualitative analysis briefly. We conduct four-square model to analyze the project. We look at the situation of present market, future market, present individual property, and we infer that the property will still be attractive to students and a higher rent could be charged with booming market. The details could be found in our report. Then we make some supplement. Because of the lack of on-campus housing capacity and there's no further on-campus construction plan, combined with special location of the university which limits available land for accommodation development, we assume that the market supply will be relatively stable. On the other hand, because of high employment rate and stable enrollment, a persistent high demand for off-campus housing is expected. Combine the 2 points, it might be reasonable to assume that the rent will keep growing. Also, from the income level perspective, it would be noticed that the average household income is much higher than the median household income, suggesting that the demand of high-quality housing is supported by a proportion of high-income people. It is reasonable to expect that the demand for luxury apartment will remain high. Next, Lin Wei will introduce the sensitivity analysis.
For sensitivity analysis, from case we recognize that it would cost 1.1 million for land acquisition. Only when the land value of new luxury apartment is larger than the market would we suggest them to invest in. Hence, we calculate the supportable land value in each scenario. We analyze three main variables that would influence supportable land value. Firstly, for rent is downwardly sticky, we use vacancy rate to adjust rent revenues in different scenarios. We assume in better scenario that vacancy rate would increase to 5%. However, even in this situation, the supportable land value is still larger than the market land value. Furthermore, we calculate the break-even vacancy that is 7.06%. It means that when the vacancy rate could reach to this level, such apartment would not worth investing. Secondly, we focus on construction costs. Cost control is essential in property developing. Fee premium means that what percentage real fee per square foot cost is higher than expected fee. We think that there should not be big difference between Wisconsin and Florida. In caution scenario of 10% fee premium, the comparison still shows that they should invest. These numbers could be a good reference for them. They should try to negotiate with the construction crew to avoid construction costs exceeds $2.9 million, or they would lose money. Finally, we analyze the impact of mortgage. We believe that bank would not give higher value of property than market for caution consideration. So we recalculate the possible LTV and DSCR that bank would provide. We assume that interest rate is still 4.625% compounded monthly, 25-year amortization. This table shows the possible groups of LTV and DSCR and corresponding supportable land value. It means that if the bank only provides LTV of 0.8 and DSCR 1.35 or 1.4, they should not invest. Furthermore, for negotiating with bank, we also find that if the LTV is 0.75, they should ask for lower DSCR than the 1.425. If DSCR is 1.25, they should ask for LTV lower than 0.855.
For the NPV analysis, we the market and the business will operate as expected. The key is to figure out what is the cost of capital. We realize that it is cost inefficient to gather market data and to generate beta and risk premium, so we simplify the case using this formula based on dividend discount model. The blue part is our cost of capital. So we need to know what is cap rate and what is the growth rate of rent income. For the growth rate, We estimated net operating income based on the assumptions on revenues and operation expenditure growth rate. We made these assumptions based on the present growth rate and the average USA inflation rate. We generate this cash flow forecast form. This is our net operating income. We could get
To further assess whether the student apartment should be constructed, the return of the project should be compared with alternative options. In this case, acquiring existing rental property in the area to start leasing out immediately is a suitable alternative option because it is similar in nature and has similar risk profile as well as cash flow structure. At first, current project cap rate and the alternative option cap rate are compared. Cap rate of the alternative option is assumed to be 6.6%, equal to the average cap rate of houses near the campus. The project cap rate is calculated by dividing current NOI by the present value of project's development cost. With a cap rate of 7.44%, the proposed student apartment appears more profitable than other properties. However, current cap rate fails to account for the loss of the first 20 months income due to construction time. One way to standardize the two options is to estimate the present value of cash flow under assumption of same initial investment present value, perpetual income, same discount rate, same constant growth rate, and same capital structure. The results indicate that building a luxury student apartment for lease will be more profitable than leasing out existing property. From the same formula, it can also be calculated that project's NPV is greater than that of the alternative option, as long as growth rate is above 2.86%, or the alternative project's cap rate with similar growth rate and risk are below 6.78%. The two graphs demonstrate relative profitability of the projects in regards to different growth rate and alternative option cap rate. To engage in a project, the developers must be aware of the project's cost and capital requirement. Total project cost is $3,760,000, consisting of land costs, construction hard costs, and soft costs. The substantial hard construction costs represent 65% of total costs and are financed through a construction loan. That leaves $1,183,000 for developers' contribution required to cover land acquisition and soft costs. The two diagrams show the monthly capital requirements and the funding distribution of projects during construction stage. At 31st of August 2014, assuming construction has completed on time and the developers have finalized lease agreement, the 4.6% 25 years amortizing mortgage can be drawn to terminate the construction loan and to obtain some cash. Since the mortgage exceeds the sum of construction loan and unpaid interest, the developers can obtain the surplus of $387,000. This reduces equity contribution requirement to above $700,000. Overall, these projects will require large developers' contribution during the early stage, since loan on land acquisition and soft costs are not available. However, funding requirement will reduce by the amount of cash surplus as soon as the mortgage can be drawn. To sum up, Kimberly and Chris should go on with the projects if they can acquire the land at a reasonable price and are able to find sufficient debt and equity funding. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.